Hi everyone, greetings to Australia from Honduras. I'm going to present our contribution entitled Unveiling Possible Hidden Astronomical Landmarks in the Copan Valley, New Discoveries and Interpretations. We're going to firstly speak about Copan Ruins archaeological site. It is located in the southernmost part of Maya region, and we are going to focus in this first part of the talk about this area in Copan Ruins site. It's called Sepulturas, and especially we are going to speak also about this area briefly, El Bosque, and this is the two main areas this study is located. The Copan Valley is a very prolific area from the archaeological point of view. We have identified more than 3,200 sites in the whole valley, including the surrounding mountains and other parts of the valley and as I said, as the surroundings. But today we are going to speak about the AO glyph. The AO glyph is very interesting glyph in Honduras, especially because it's not from the Mayan area. It's associated mostly with cultures in central Mexico, including Zapotec and Mixtec mainly. But we do have the glyph in several places around the site, and it has never been studied properly or taken into consideration for the last years. To be honest, from the very beginning of the study of the site, and this glyph is linked to designate the tropical year in the central Mexico area, according to the most widely accepted scholars. The AO glyph can be described, as you can see in the image on the right, as an stroke resembling the Latin letter A, which may be flanked on its left or right sides by lines resembling the Latin letter V. So it can be like an O and A in the same time. It is also interesting because it has also it's very site-dependent glyph. The basics are the same, but are pretty different, as you can see in these 8 variants appearing in the image. This glyph is also known as a Mixtec year glyph, but by itself does not provide an exact account of time as the ancient American inhabitants intended, but it usually goes linked with other symbols that provide the exact date. This is we generally see it like a number glyph that reveal the count of the year For example, in this example, on the right, on the bottom right, that you can see the number 15 on the stela D in Copan Ruins. It's worth noting that it's also sometimes linked with year name glyphs, some of which represent a flint, a house, a lore, a reed. So it's totally linked to time cycles, to time periods, and the year itself. Regarding to the origins of the glyph, it has been linked with with time periods, as I said, but in this cultural region, the time periods are linked or as can be seen as burdens to be transported by mythical beings that precisely their propose is carrying these burdens, this time, obviously representing the flux of time, and this flow has to be as forward, has to be intended, and it's also carried by burdens. And Central America, we usually use this traditional mecapal in here. It was in the head, and the mecapal, as I said, is widely used in Mesoamerica for transportation, several types of burdens, or even babies and so on. So it's easy to see the relationship between this mecapal, traditional mecapal, and the beginning of this AO glyph. The central part of the glyph, of course. This rope surrounding the central part of the glyph, also here, is this part of the mecapal. So it's totally linked, the mecapal and the glyph, the AO glyph. And also the relationship can be seen again in this image from the Stella D from Copan ruins. And it's a mecapal bear here in the head, representing the number 15 and the Bactun time period. So again, the time period is carried as a burden from this person, this number, accompanying the whole image. Again, is related always with time, this mecapal. So this study started with the documentary A Physical Review in the Honduran Institute of Anthropology and History, especially in the area. We have the main recordings on records and the main important physical remains of the site. It's not publicly accessible, but we could make the databases and search for all the possible remainings related to the AO glyph. It was very interesting because we found several non-known yet AO glyphs, especially in the related to the buildings. But in the buildings itself, we identified pieces of curve with the image of the AO glyph or parts of them. They were found in the general area of the main group at the Copan Archaeological Park, an area where sacred rituals were performed by the Copan Maya elite. 3 of the pieces were found in the area called the cemetery, which is known to be the location of the elite's living area, a novelty. And 2 more pieces were found in one of the pyramids of the Copan Acropolis that were decorated or showed traces of having had a feather headdress. The archaeologists have interpreted one of the pieces as warriors' headdresses, sculpted in structure 10L26, one of the most sacred during the Maya occupation, and it's located over the tomb of the founder of the Copan royal dynasty, Kinis Ahau Yashkugmo. The above suggests that the AO glyph, which symbolizes the passage of time for the ancient inhabitants of the southern Mexico was more closely associated with royalty in Copan, as the remains contained in the glyph are located in the places where royalty frequented or lived. Likewise, searches, this study conducted to archaeological studies in Copan Valley, identified some monuments, and this is the new landmarks that we can present here. That is monuments and structures that the geoglyph is present and not yet recorded or presented before in any other research. In particular, the glyph was found as decoration of the headdress of a statue and the hieroglyphic staircase. You can see here now, here in the headdress. This is the 13th ruler of Copan, Huasaklahun Ubacawil. And in this part, in the sepulturas part of the site, that in the structure AN66. In here they appear 12th, maybe 13th geoglyphs, double geoglyph, like this one. This is one of them, and it is very interesting that to be to have this 13th, probably 13th, because one of them is eroded, but probably 13th double geoglyph representing the fullness of in the Maya cosmology. So it's very interesting, as I said. But the idea, the proper idea that the geoglyph in Copan ruins may have been used as a symbol of royalty rather than a reference to time measurement can be verified at these two sites mentioned above, especially the statue placed at the top of the Copan hieroglyphic stairway. And according to what has been deciphered from the glyphs in the staircase, this statue is a representation, as I said, of the 13th ruler of Copan, one of the most important ruler of Copan, Kinisahau Wasaklahun Ubacawil, and his headdress of this figure is the symbol of the power. This is also interesting that this is the Copan dynasty and the foundation comes from the south part of Mexico, in the central Mexico, central south part of Mexico, probably. So it's very interesting having or carrying this symbol from the south part of Mexico and redefine its significance. So this is one of the main interesting consequences or ideas that we have get from this study. And the other landmark and interesting brand new site, archaeological site in Copan Valley is Las Mesas archaeological site. You can see the area in the surrounding mountains around Copan ruins in the Copan Valley. And McNeil here in 2023 has made a whole archaeological prospection, identifying several interesting structures, archaeological structures. But we are focusing in this part, of the site. Again, Las Mesas archaeological site. Here is the topographic photograph, and here is the model, the 3D model, and we are focusing in this area here. Here we can visualize or interpret one of the stairs or platforms, the first platform, the second platform here, and a circular shape structure in the top, on the top. This is this part of the site, or of the Mesa site, is very interesting, and it's linked to other places. Of course, the first idea that comes to our mind is El Caracol in Chichen Itza, but we have also very similar structures in Salvador, for example, in the P21 structure of Cihuatan, here in the map and here in the photograph. It's like a keyhole shape structure and building, and it's usually interpreted as or a heretical god worship building, or a astronomical use building. Both ideas are taken into account. This is of course a work in progress, but it's very interesting shape building in the Copan Valley. It's the unique one. We don't have any other circular shaped buildings in the whole valley, at least yet identified. And we are focusing in understanding this site with several archaeological works related to the whole site and especially this building. And we are thinking in different approaches. For example, will be the coverage made by wood or other material that is not remaining in archaeological record, or because there is no remains of high amount of rocks or any other constructive material. So we are thinking in that direction, and as I said, it's a work in progress. We are open, probably open to collaborations in the next future with colleagues in Salvador and Mexico. But probably in the next meeting we will have more information and more conclusions about these two works. Thank you very much for your interest and your time.